Welcome to Off the Hanger. This week's guest is artist and print designer Jess Williams. She is so fabulously passionate about fashion. I really hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Hi Jess, it is super exciting to have you here on Off the Hanger. I am really looking forward to going through your wardrobe because you're an artist and a print designer. So I imagine that print is something you are very particular about.
Yes, I don't know if I'm particular about it, but I'm very enthusiastic about it. Like, there's definitely that real passion there, which I can't contain. It just comes out, and yeah, I love print.
See, it took me a while to embrace print. It's probably only been maybe
Did it?
5 or so years that I've really got on board with it. Now I'm there. I'm like a fully fledged member.
Are you?
Signed
Good.
me up. But yeah, initially I was like, I think I was super particular, and I'd look at things and go, well, it's just not quite right, or this isn't quite right, or if they'd have only done this. So I think it is a really personal thing wearing prints.
It really is. And it can be hard to wear print because, you know, we've heard lots of things like make sure we see you before we see the print. It sometimes feels like there's rules, but I don't know. I don't think there are any rules. I just think if you love something, you put it on, you're gonna, you know, that joy is just gonna radiate out of you. So whether it's like the right scale print for you or the right colours, I don't know if it matters. It's just sort of embracing that joyful side of wearing like beautiful patterns.
I think that's right, and I think that's right about all fashion. There shouldn't really be any rules. It should just be about the things that make you feel fantastic when you put them on.
Yes, it's the way it makes you feel, isn't it? I think, I don't know, I've got a bit of a hangover from the days when it was all about, you know, trying to look the slimmest you could look, or, you know, the tallest. And actually, now I've sort of tried to put some of those rules aside, I feel like I'm dressing in a more joyful way, and I'm just wearing things that make me feel good. And it's not all print. It does look like it's all print here. I feel like I tend to wear more print in the summer. I don't know whether that's to do with the weather or the way that I'm feeling. And I'll wear print for occasions as well, because I feel like it just sort of makes an instant statement.
And have you always been into fashion? Did you love fashion as a child?
I've always loved clothes, and I have got some photos to show you. I think my mum had I think she found a lot of joy in getting dressed and getting us dressed as children. So I've got a little brother as well. I mean, not so little now, but your younger siblings are always your little brothers, aren't they? And I think she really liked dressing us both, but it was always like joy was always at the heart. So we did a lot of fancy dress. So let me show you. So here's me living my true, like, joyful life in my little outfit. I mean, that crop, and bearing in mind this was the 80s, okay? Oh no, it would have been 90s. So we're in the 90s. I've got my little polka dot shorts. I've got my little crop top on, and then this is fancy dress. So I'm put it with some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. And we were, you know, I don't think I would have worn this out, but we just had a lot of fun at home, putting on different outfits, having a lot of fun. I mean, whether my brother's enjoying it as much as me, I can't really say. And then when we had parties, my mum would always do a game where we had like a whole bag full of dressing up clothes, and we'd all put the clothes on and we'd just be silly. And this was sort of the things we do for fun. I don't know if that's weird, but yeah, we just loved clothes, and it was never really about how we looked or how anyone else saw us. It was just sort of how we felt when we were wearing them. And then some more sort of more normal outfits. There's me in like my little lovely tonal yellow outfit, and I can imagine my mum thinking, right, so we're going to put this yellow t-shirt with these little yellow shorts. And then I'm so sentimental about clothes, and these little flip-flops, I still remember them. I remember exactly how they felt. They had little beads on the bit that went between my toes. So for me, it's quite often about the details. And that's where that sentimental link comes in. And I just remember loving those. They were amazing. And then here's me at Christmas with like my little coordinating ribbon.
Very festive. Red and
my little festive dress. And I think because it was my mum that would have dressed me at that point, I don't think, maybe I was picking a few things out, but I think my mum was like making little outfits for me and having a little ribbon. It's hard to explain, but it felt like clothes mattered, but not because of the way that you'd be perceived, the way that it made you feel, because it was like a real sense of occasion to kind of put your little red dress on with a little matching ribbon, and it just makes you feel good. And yeah, a sense of celebration, and gave me a sense of occasion.
And it's also, when you look back on it as an adult, it's the kind of act of love of your mum doing that. Do you know what I mean? Spending all that
Yes.
time really considering what you were wearing, not just going, oh, well, she's just going to get dirty, or it's just that she's just going to run around garden in it, throw her in anything. It's fine. It is that real, you know, care and attention that she put into those details in your outfits.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And I think it didn't matter if we got dirty, because I don't ever remember feeling like, oh, I'm all dressed up, therefore I have to act all prim and proper. I think it was because we were a very creative household. So I think it was like, you know, get dressed, put your little ribbon on. If your ribbon falls out, who cares? If you get paint all over your dress, fine. Like, I don't think I've never, even though clothes are so important to me and I love them so much, I don't worry too much if, you know, like a seam starts to split or I get a stain on something, because clothes are supposed to be worn. So yeah, there's not that pressure.
I have that same feeling as an adult, that nothing is saved for
best. You?
Nothing is saved for best. Everything is just worn.
No.
And it doesn't matter if it's sequins or if it's a bit over the top or whatever. I'd rather that than it just hung in my wardrobe, just sitting there, like waiting for a moment to shine. I'm like, no, let's just put you on every day. It'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I heard you. I think you were talking to Lizzie Richardson, and you were saying that you're never worried about being overdressed, and I loved that. I really resonated with that. I was like, there's no such thing as being overdressed.
No such thing. Literally, I'm going to somebody's birthday party tonight, and I've had to just pack my bag this morning. And I was like looking in the group WhatsApp, and somebody was kind of panicking, going, "What's the dress code?" And then somebody else was going, you know, just wear whatever makes you feel fabulous. And I was like, right, sequins it is. So I've just got the most over the top sequins. I don't particularly know where we're going or if it's going to be appropriate. I don't care. It's sequins. It's going to look fine.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's about not taking it too seriously. Because if a friend would say like, oh, but am I going to be too dressed up? I just think, well, who cares? Like, I think it's quite funny if I come in wearing like dress with a big puff on the shoulder, floor length, and my friends all roll their eyes and go, oh God. Like, I think it's just funny. It doesn't make me feel awkward to make a bit of a statement. And I think I heard you also say that you're an introverted extrovert, and clothes can be kind of like an armor. And that is I really resonate with that. That's very much what I do with clothes. I think I always have a bit of a worry that I'm not going to know what to say to people, or I'm not going to know how to act when people talk to me. And I think if I wear something, it makes me stand out a bit more, but it becomes an instant talking point, because somebody might say, oh, I love your dress, and that will instantly, it's not even about the fact it's a compliment, it's just the fact there's an in, so you can be like, oh, thank you, and then we might quickly go on to something else, but it's just that icebreaker, and it does feel like a layer of protection to where somebody could talk about.
It does. And it also, I think, it brings them into my comfort zone, because obviously fashion is my comfort zone. So if you want to talk to me about clothes, I'll talk to you about clothes until the cows come home. So it's a really easy conversation starter for me. And then, like you say, you can move on to other things. But that initial conversation is something I know that I'm going to be very comfortable with. I can talk about until time. And I'm fine with that. So yeah, it is definitely no such thing as over.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it also takes, even though it's something that you're wearing, do you think it also almost reflects the emphasis off you? Because then you could talk about the dress and the designer perhaps, or other things. Because I think I do that. I'll say like, oh yeah, well, have you seen the new dress that this person's done? And it's this, or this is a British designer. And I'll be able to say a little bit about what I'm wearing, which kind of makes me feel like the spotlight's off me a tiny bit. But yeah, I'm in my comfort zone because I do know clothing and I can talk about it.
And I think that's it. I'm not great with compliments. So if somebody compliments me about something physical appearance wise, I always feel quite awkward about it, because I'm like, I didn't earn that. It's kind of just a genetic thing. That's just how I look or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think if an outfit that I've put together, I'm then definitely feeling like, oh, I earned that. That was my choice. I've done that. Therefore, that compliment.
That's such an interesting point.
Really kind of resonates more with me than somebody going, oh, I really like your hair. And I'm like, it's kind of just there doing its thing. I don't really, I didn't earn the compliment. It's just there. That it just happens to be what I have. Whereas if somebody goes, oh my God, I love the outfit that you put together, I'm like, thanks. compliments.
Yeah, and isn't that's quite a good lesson for us to learn when we're giving compliments to other people, because often giving a compliment about someone's appearance can be a little bit awkward, because it might be like, oh, you've lost a lot of weight. I don't know whether we should be saying stuff about like that, even if we're thinking it's a compliment. But to say like, you look fabulous in that dress, or what fabulous shoes, it's an easy way to lift someone up without making it too much about the things that we can't necessarily control, because we don't, especially for women, our weight fluctuates, our hair looks different every single time we wake up, and obviously hearing something nice about yourself is nice. But yeah, I think you're right. I think to be complimented on your outfit is a nice way to sort of lift someone up.
Completely. Now, do you tend to hang on to things? What's the oldest thing in your wardrobe?
Yes, I do hang on to things. So we're sitting in front of my sort of main wardrobe here, but I've got sort of like it's embarrassing, but I've got a big archive in the loft where I've got rails and rails of things. But one of the things I thought might be interesting is this really, really old H&M top. There is a bit of a story behind this. This is actually like a repurchase. I found it again on Vinted to help illustrate how specific I can be about things, because I mean, we all love a chic sort of Breton stripy top. It's so easy to wear, but this one is amazing because of the fabric, and I'm quite into fabrics as well. And this is kind of, I've said already, it's not always about how I look, it's more about how I feel. And when the fabrics are great, just something can transform you, can't it? So this is like a really, really thick ponte fabric, and it's quite a normal generic stripy top, but the fabric gives it that interest. And I'd had the one that was before this beauty, I'd had it for about, I mean, maybe 8 years, probably, maybe longer. And then I had my ear pierced. I'm nearly 40, so I'm going through that crisis that everyone goes through when they're nearly 40 and they get a million piercings. So I had the top of my ear pierced, and it actually bled all down my lovely perfect top that I'd had for years. So I was really gutted, and I've bought, probably seeing now, I've bought about 10 to replace it, and they just weren't the one. And then I found it on Vinted and I've rebought it, and it's just come back into my life. So even though this one's not the oldest, it symbolises a really good basic piece, because I do love my basics as well. I love print, but put me in like a wide leg jean and a stripy top, red lipstick, gold hoops. Like, yeah, easy chic.
Smashed it. Oh, you see, I was thinking about having my ear pierced now. You've put me right off.
I've taken it out.
You?
It didn't settle. It was keeping me up at night.
Oh my God.
And I thought, right, I'm nearly 40. Both my children, touch wood, sleep through the night now, and my ear was waking me up in the night, and it bled on my pillow. And I was like, do you know what? I need to get rid of this piercing.
You see, I cheat and I use those little ear cuffs. You can get those little ear cuffs that you don't have to have the piercing for. So I cheat and I use those because I really like that look. But also, I had my ears pierced when I think I was 3, so I don't remember that.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember any of the pain of that. I'm not great with unnecessary pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, would I go and do it now? Probably not. And my son's 9, and he keeps saying that he like his ear pierced, and he thinks it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, if you get yours done, I'll get mine done. So I'm thinking about just a second hole just down here, because I think that's
well, that will be fine. So I've got 2 holes on this one, and sorry, talked over there. I've got 2 holes here, and I've got 3 here, and they were fine. It was just that top one. But I think, if I'd have had the patience to persevere with it, it would have been fine. But I just thought, oh, I haven't got time for this.
No, as parents,
but it's a story, isn't it?
That's it. As parents, the sleep is far too precious. You do not let anything mess or interfere with sleep.
Definitely.
So what's the piece in your wardrobe you'd say gets the most compliments?
Okay, I've got a few. Is that okay?
I
thought let's see. So I have 2 pieces that are actually my print. It's funny, my relationship with my own work is it's quite interesting, because I don't always enjoy wearing my own prints, and actually it's only recently that I've started to kind of embrace wearing my own prints. A floral print like this, sometimes when I look at it, I remember like every brush stroke, every little bit of feedback from the client. And it's not always a good thing. I mean, the feedback was good, but it's kind of like, oh, just a lot of work went into it. And I'm a bit over it by the time the brand or the designer has made it into a dress, just because I've seen it too many times on my computer screen. Like, I really like to be delighted and inspired by my clothes. And I think if I've designed it often, I am just a bit over it. But this is a really lovely sort of retro floral print that I did for Joni Clothing, and their design team actually took my print and recolored it in this beautiful, like, super retro green colorway, and it just like freshened it up, and it's just beautiful. So it's more of a collaboration between me and the designer, and I just love it. And when I wear this, I get so many compliments because it's a real statement piece. I don't always go, oh, thanks, I designed it. Sometimes I do, but so, you know, it just makes me feel really happy when I wear this.
It's
really happy, and
it's absolutely glorious.
It's nice, isn't it?
The print, the color, it's just
it's a lovely length, so it's really long. It's got this beautiful tier at the bottom, it's really full, and it's got a sheared bodice. It's nice. I love it. You'd look nice in this. The color would be good on you.
I wear so much green. I love green. I don't know that I can keep buying green dresses. There are so many in the wardrobe. It's a bit of a problem.
I know, but do you know what? Sometimes if you find a formula that works, repeat that formula.
Exactly. And every time I wear a green dress, everybody's like, oh my God, that dress is amazing. Oh my God, that looks amazing. I'm like, because it's green and I love it. And I just clearly radiate when I've got the green dresses on.
I bet that green is one of your colours. Have you ever had like a colour consultation and had your colours read? And
so I've done it. You can do a thing online where you can do it, and you basically upload a load of different pictures of yourself, and then it gives you your colours. And there were a lot of colours in there that were very prominent already in my wardrobe. And I think it's just quite an instinctive thing that you are drawn to those kind of colours, because they just, when you look in the mirror, they do just lift your skin tone and make you look great. So I love
and then my second one is also another one of my prints, and this was another Joni dress that's in collaboration with Dawn Porter. And that was such a fun job to work on because Dawn just loves clothes. So her passion combined with like the passion of the Joni designers and mine, we were just all like, oh, clothes. And the brief here was kind of like a cabbage floral rose on a black base. And the designers put it on this wonderful shape. Again, very retro. We've got like beautiful, ginormous sleeves, really full skirt, and then a tie here so you can cinch it in. And again, it's just a piece that just makes such a bold statement. And I always get loads of compliments when I wear it. I know we've said you can never be overdressed, but for me, this probably wouldn't be an everyday dress. Well, it might be, but this is probably more of when I want to make a really bold statement. And if I'm doing a work thing, maybe I would wear it, because then I could say, actually, this is my print. So it would become like a little bit of a business card, I guess, if I'm at an industry thing, not just walking down the street. I don't tell everyone that I've designed it. But that's definitely, those two are probably my favourite things that I've designed.
They are gorgeous, both of them. Are you somebody who spends quite a lot of money on clothes? Do you have a most expensive piece in your wardrobe?
I don't really buy a lot of designer pieces, like very high end at all, but I do spend probably more than I should, more than my sort of monthly allowance would have it. But some of my most expensive pieces, now I think you love this brand too, Emma, Queens of Archive.
Oh, I do love Queens of Archive. Oh my goodness. The dream.
Queens of Archive are to die for, and Nicola, their designer, is one of my very best friends. So I also know like the passion and the consideration that goes into every garment. Like Nick and Sarah, who run the brand, they are just so passionate about what they do, and their message is just so intrinsically them. Like they're really into this kind of like rock and roll, rock trick, glamorous woman, and they've always got their customer like at the heart of what they're designing. And their clothes are just like, you put them on and there's nothing like it. They are the most transformative clothes ever. So here's a beautiful dress. Again, it's got the little puff.
Nice.
Oh, you need this, Emma.
I already have 3 very similar black star print dresses. I love any sort of celestial star print. I am all over it. It's just,
I know. A star is so easy to wear as well, isn't it? I'm not really a black kind of I mean, I'm wearing a black print today, and then this. But I don't tend to wear a lot of black because I'm quite pale, and I feel like brighter colour will lift me a bit more. But for a nighttime thing, I do love a black base star print. Oh, and we've got this beautiful shoulder perf, gorgeous silk fabric. Oh, and it's just something that, like, put it on and you've got like a cinched waist. It's very long. Oh, gorgeous. And then there's a leopard print version, which is exactly the same shape with this beautiful puff, but it's kind of like a sheer fabric with this lurex stripe going through it, this gold. Oh,
it's just stunning.
It's beautiful.
That beautiful metallic to it. It just gives it all of the sheen, and it's just, and I think that's it. Once you find a brand who have really got the silhouette shape that works for your body, then it's just like every season you can be like, right, what have they brought out now? What prints have they got? What have they got? Because you know that
absolutely
works.
Yeah. And so Nicola and I worked in fashion together for years. We designed for the high street. So she's just got years and years of experience behind her, designing for like every body shape. So within their ranges, they'll be like, you know, this is the thing for the girl who maybe likes to nip in her waist. And that's probably me, because I like a long silhouette, and then I like to sort of have definition at the waist. But then they've also got lots of like mini dresses that is for the girl who loves to show her legs. So there is really something for everyone. There is, God, it sounds like an advert for Queens of Archive now, don't I? This one was quite an iconic print because there's like a bit of a print mix, and then there's a beautiful bell sleeve with a frill, and I've worn this so much, and I've worn this everywhere. So I've worn it to a soft play, I've worn it like strawberry picking. Like, this is one of those dresses, and I think it's quite rare to find a dress that feels very dressed up, but also it can work in lots of different situations. I mean, whether anyone else agreed it worked in the soft play, I don't know, but for me it worked. I was like, you can wear a maxi in a soft play. I don't go in the soft play anymore. My children are too old. I just sit and drink a coffee.
Exactly. Oh, it's nice when you get to that stage, isn't it? When all of a sudden you don't have to go in there and be climbing around and like on the slides, and because soft play is not built for adults, it's built for tiny children. And the amount of times where you're trying to like wedge through some tiny little thing, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I feel like that was a real rite of passage when we went to a new soft play, and I was like, I've never been up that slide or into that cargo net. I'm living my best life. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's all different sorts of challenges that come when your kids are a little bit older, but mine are still close enough to like that toddler age to know like the joy of not having to climb up a cargo net to rescue a child that's probably done a wee on the slide.
Oh, exactly, and that's it. They are germ fest. It is a little germ fest to soft play. There is, yeah, it
really is.
You definitely don't want to go around that with any sort of like swab or black light. It's not the one.
No, so maybe you shouldn't wear your maxi at a soft play, but
you get to sit down and drink the coffee. If you're just sitting down and drinking coffee, then absolutely great. And I love that the piece
wear the maxi
because it's a do-all dress. So you can wear it to soft play, you can wear it to go strawberry picking, but you could wear it to go out to dinner and it would still look great. You could dress that up and wear it to somebody's wedding and it'd look amazing. There's so much that you can do with a piece like that in your wardrobe, and I think they're the pieces you should spend money on because you get the most wear out.
Absolutely. And that's it. And I do tend to find that often when I've spent a little bit more money on something, I do cherish it a little bit more. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's because I know the price point. It's because the nature of buying something a little bit more expensive is that the fabrics are going to be beautiful. It's going to be like stunningly made. You know, every decision that goes into making a garment costs money. So something that's got a lower price point, you know, there might be areas where a designer or a factory have had to cut corners slightly. That's just what happens. Whereas if you buy something that's a little bit more elevated in price, you know, you're going to have gorgeously finished seams on the inside, the fabrics, and fabric is so important because, you know, something that's silk like this, you could wear it in winter because it's going to retain some of your heat, but also you wear it in summer because it's lovely and floaty and very cool. So fabrics do matter, and if you can afford to spend a little bit of money in certain places, I think, yeah, like an everyday do-all dress is a good call.
What's the newest piece you've got in your wardrobe?
So I've got a new blouse. So this is my newest piece. and it's a shrimps blouse, and it's from Vinted, and again fabrics, so it's silk, beautiful silk, and it's got this double collar. And actually I don't know whether these are colours that I would normally go for, but I just like the statement. Love the print statement. I love this like sleeve, you know, it's the details for me. We've got a really lovely tight cuff on a really, really voluminous sleeve, and then like lovely little buttons. It's just, yeah, it's all about the details, and I just feel like I feel nice when I wear this.
It's lovely. It's super pretty, really feminine, but I love the kind of quite unusual look of the print. And the fact that you've bought it on Vinted is just perfection. I'm such a big Vinted fan. I love it.
I love Vinted so much. And I think because I've worked in fashion for years and years and years, there's always like things that I've seen and wanted and perhaps not been able to afford. And then I can search for them now. And I spend a lot of time on there. And then I can find those sentimental pieces that I really wanted. And then, you know, here they are. And somebody doesn't love them for them anymore and wants to sell it on. And I do really like that.
Yeah, I dread to think on my weekly screen time report how much of that is time spent on Vinted.
Well, I was thinking the other day, because you know how you have that section where you can have things recommended to you, and I'm on that, and you know, it's all my favorite brands and it's so spot on. And I was thinking, how does Vinted know exactly what I want? It's because I spent hours on there giving it information. So I'm like, silk puff sleeve blouse with a collar, you know, I spend so much time on that site. But I love the idea of selling clothes on, recycling, like a very sustainable way to kind of build up things that you really love in your wardrobe and to save money as well.
And also it's like treasure hunting. When you find that perfect piece and then it arrives, I think the joy that you get of opening that thing and it's here and it's arrived and you've found it and it's the one, and great. I think it's much more rewarding than just going to Zara.
It's like a fashion game, isn't it? It's really fun, and I do love having like my little saved area where everything's curated. And then actually maybe I would use that for inspiration, because if I've got like 10 tops, stripy tops that are saved on my Vinted, I'll be like, well, that's obviously something that I'm feeling like is missing. I mean, it isn't missing in my wardrobe, but it will give you a clue to sort of, you know, what am I missing, what am I really excited about finding next.
And you did mention before that you're quite sentimental when it comes to the pieces in your wardrobe. Do you have a most sentimental piece?
Right, let's have a think. So this dress, which is a Stina Goya dress, I love her designs. So there we go, Stina Goya.
Vinted watch lists.
Oh yeah. Oh, Emma, I have this one as well.
Oh, look, she just makes the most fabulous things. There's so many of them just in my watch list, and I have saved search for the brand. So anytime anything new is added in my size, it comes up so I can look at it and go, ooh, should I get that one?
That one there, that's one of hers as well. Just like fabrics, prints, like it's joyful dressing. Like that brand is just joyful dressing at the heart. I know we were talking about this one, but we could talk about this one for a second. This is an example of something where I'm almost like discounting those rules that we were talking about earlier on, because it's very full. And it's also very short. So when I wear it, I've kind of got this like big silhouette, like no waist like I'd have here. And it is quite short on me. I'm very tall. I'm 5'10". So, you know, I know that I will look sort of slim and elegant in a sort of waisted maxi kind of dress. And this is just the opposite of the rules. But actually, I feel all right when I wear it. Like it's a statement. And just an example of like, we don't always have to be walking around trying to look the slimmest we could look. I don't know where we've got that message from, but it's definitely in me. I don't mean to be like that. It's just,
I do think it's quite a generational thing. I kind of look at the way that younger generations dress now, and if you think about you know, oversized hoodies and super wide leg jeans, and they don't seem to be as concerned as, oh my god, everything's got to be skinny, I've got to look skinny, I've got to look thin,
good
about looking thin. And I think it is about playing with that balance. You know, I think lots of us are very aware of our body shapes, but I am aware of my body shape, but I don't always dress in the way that that's specifically about my body shape. Sometimes I just go,
No.
well, it doesn't really matter that I'm a bit of a pear shape. If I want to wear this specific thing and it's going to make me look even
Yeah.
pear shape, do you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. It is a generational thing. And I think when I was at like a really sensitive age, which was probably like, you know, early teens, that would have been, I don't know, you can do the maths because I'm 39 now, but that was definitely a time when it was, you know, it was like the kind of heroin chic look, like very slim, Kate Moss, no curves. And actually, I think, you know, I'm old enough now to not be influenced by the media, but I am still influenced by the media. And the fact that there's a celebration of curvy bodies, like, you know, people have bums, people have boobs, people have waists, some people don't have as much of a waist, like, and it's, I feel like, you know, there's still so much work to be done. And I'm definitely talking from a place of privilege because I am a size 12. Like, you know, I feel like we are seeing more diverse body shape, and that's helping me. And I know it will help my daughter as well, because there's not just one ideal now, I think, and I hope.
And I think it's so important that anything that we can do to kind of encourage that and promote that, I think is just so important that we should be doing, because nobody wants to feel like they're left out. And actually, I think what's been really nice, obviously social media does have its problems, but I think what's been really nice with social media is that people have been able to find other people that they relate to who are their size or their body shape and who are out there wearing whatever they want, not just, you know, sticking to this traditional idea of, oh, I can only wear this because this makes me look slim. I think it's nice that you
absolutely
see that representation in people and inspiration from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've started to think about that with the brands that I design for as well. So one of the brands I design for, which we've talked about earlier, is Joni, and inclusivity for them is so important. Like, we go up to a size 24 at the moment, and the models that we'll use are, you know, we'll show the dresses on different body shapes because that's what's useful. And our customers do talk to us, and it does feel like such a shame when people say, you know, there's other brands that I want to wear, but I'm not able to because their sizing isn't very inclusive. So it's important to me to align myself within my work with brands that do show consideration for different body shapes.
Completely.
I think we went slightly off tangent, didn't we?
We did, and I still need to hear all about this dress because it looks gorgeous.
I know. So this is a really sentimental piece. I bought it last year. I've only worn it once. And this is something else I wanted to talk to you about, because I don't know if this is strange, but actually I don't always buy things to wear them a lot. Sometimes I just like to have them.
Same.
I don't know, is that unusual?
No, same.
Is that really bad?
Honestly, there are so many things that I have where I bought it and I might have like worn it once, or I might have worn it a couple of times, but I think it's just about having that thing and being able to go and look at that thing like a piece of beauty. Like, yeah, I've got a very big shoe collection, and my shoes are all,
yeah, I know you love shoes,
in a room. They're all on beautiful shelves, and there are certain pairs in there that I will openly admit been worn, but they're so beautiful. I will never.
That's fine, isn't it?
Because they are like a work of art. They are sculptural and just gorgeous.
Yeah,
the amount of design and effort that went into that shoe, I'm like, it's work of art. I don't need to wear it. It just can live in there and I'll love it still.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how I feel about this. And I really do see clothes as little works of art, especially because, you know, the nature of my career is that I'm creating these artworks on paper or on the computer that will then be put into clothing. So I really do think that clothing is art, and that's what I collect, I guess. And I'm sensible about it. I make sure that I spend within my means, but having something like this in my wardrobe just makes me so happy. And I bought it last year. I'd had quite a good year with my business, and I bought it probably about this time last year as like my little seasonal Christmas dress. As we said before, it's a brand I love. I also bought it from an independent shop called the Hambledon in Winchester. Have you ever been there?
I haven't been to that one, no.
Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful independent shop. Like, look at it online because I think you'll love it. Homewares, gifting, stationery, and then ladies' wear, and and menswear, so clothing. And that seems like my purchases are quite considered. Yeah, I did sort of know I wouldn't wear it a lot, but it's considered in the fact that it's a brand that I want to support. And even though it's just one purchase, it is showing you support for a brand. It was a retailer that I wanted to support, so to buy it from the Hambledon, I got my little note, to buy from an independent business feels lovely. I've still got the little note upstairs, and it was like, "Hi Jessica, fabulous choice. hope you enjoy spinning around in your dress or
Oh,
something like that. And I loved that. It was a bit of a landmark buy, I guess. I was like, this is to celebrate the end of the year. I wore it to a Christmas party, like kind of like a work Christmas party. I felt great in it. It's shiny. It's beautiful.
I love it. It is absolutely gorgeous.
It's stunning, isn't it? And it is a work of art. So where we're sitting here is in my bedroom, and this wall I have like a nail, and I'll just hang it here. So it does hang on my wall like a piece of art, and then I'll switch it out for other dresses.
And I do think that's it. I think sometimes we forget clothes are works of art, that they have had all of this time and care and attention gone into every detail, every brush stroke of that print. Everything has been thought out.
Yeah, because I mean, look at that stunning print.
It's
It's just gorgeous.
Somebody's taken so much time and effort over that. And I think sometimes we do really forget about that process. And it is just a case of, oh, I'm just going to grab this thing and I'm just going to wear this thing and it's fine. Whereas I think when you start to really consider how much time and effort's gone into all of your pieces, you view them in a very different light.
Absolutely. And that's how I sort of justify them being like these collector's items, because for me it's the same as somebody collecting, I don't know, what do people collect now, like vintage cameras or something. It's like, well, I collect these gorgeous pieces of art. And I think I've even saw something on Instagram last year, which was the Stina Goya design team designing this print, and it just means a lot to me. And you're right, people do forget that there's artists and designers behind print, because when I explain to people what my job is, quite a lot of the time people will be like, oh, that's a job. And you think, well, yeah, like patterns are designed.
It's just, they're not going down the wallpaper shop and going, oh, that wallpaper would be fine, we'll turn that into a dress. Like, not the way.
Yeah, I mean, they might do.
Some brands might, you never know, do you? Now, have you got a piece in your wardrobe that most sums you up? Is it a piece that you've designed?
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a piece that I've designed, because all of my work is such a collaboration between other people. So the one I'm wearing today is one of my designs. But when I'm designing clothes, I'm working for a client. So I'm working for their target customer. I'm often, sometimes I bring my own ideas to it, but more often than not, the design team will have like quite a clear vision of what they want. So when I'm designing, I'm almost like putting everything into that specific customer, and it's not always me. And I find that sometimes, like some of the Joni prints that I showed you at the beginning, the green ones, they perhaps have been more sort of synonymous with my style because I've worn them a lot on my Instagram. I remember events where I was wearing them, but in general, it's not something that I've designed. I think this jumper, maybe. So this one, I love this.
I've been waiting to get to this. I've been dying not to just jump ahead and go, tell me about the pink jumper on the back.
Do you remember this? It's an And Other Stories one. Have you seen it before?
So fun.
You might not have the same I've just got such a fashion memory, and I just remember everything. So I remember this came out and I loved it. And then Kate Spires, who's Kate Levy on Insta, I think she's still Kate Levy, she had it and I wanted it, and I ordered it in like an extra small or something. So I was like, I'll make it work. And it didn't work. It was far too small. So I bought it, snapped a few photos of me wearing it to be like, could I make it work? But it's very cropped, so I couldn't really make it work. And then might have been eBay. This might have been before the Vinted days, but I just had an alert set for it. So I was like, And Other Stories, sequin jumper, and I'd get all these emails through and it would, not be the one. And then eventually it came on and I bought, and it's in a medium and it fits me this time. And it sums me up because I love knitwear. We've not even started on knitwear. We could be here all day. But I love a knit. It's pink, which is a colour that I feel like suits me, but it's also my favourite colour. And it's sparkly, and I mostly wear it at Christmas, but I will wear it all year round as well. I love it with a red lip. I love pink and red together. And it's just joyful dressing. And I like the element of unexpected as well. So I love the contrast between the knit and the sequin. And to me, that gives it like an element of unexpected.
And it's also the way that the sequins are done, that they're in that kind of lovely diamond pattern to them. It's not that they've just gone, oh, let's just give you a big block of sequins. I think it's just, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
So much fun. Now, do you want to join my Fashion Faux Pas Wardrobe Malfunction Club. Have you got a story you can share?
I don't know whether I really buy into faux pas in terms of I wore that and it didn't look great, because I honestly don't think it matters. And often now when we're looking back on things, we're looking at it through photos, and a photo doesn't ever really show you what you really look like.
No.
You could have worn the most perfect outfit, a bad photo, and if you buy into that, you'll just be like, oh, that's awful. So I definitely don't buy into like, oh, and also, do you know what? I was a teenager in like the 90s, and I was like the skater side of it. So I wore like, because I think I've heard you say you wore like a lot of bodycon. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I had like ginormous jeans that were like this wide each leg, going into puddles.
I had those
big...
too. I did that as well. The whole kind of Avril Lavigne era. I was deep.
Yeah.
With my very pasty,
exactly. Like
ginger hair. It didn't work.
Yeah, me too. And like massive trainers, and then a chain. Like I was into it. I had a chain that hung down, a little t-shirt, a body t-shirt with a long one underneath. Oof. So yeah, there's been a lot of like questionable style, but at the time it was what I loved. But I think my faux pas, it's just ongoing, and it's shoes. I just can't do shoes. Emma, you need to help me. I can't do it.
Shoe trauma, is that what it is? Do you just have shoe trauma in that your heel breaks, or that you just can't walk in them?
No, so I think because I'm so passionate about clothes, as you can tell, I feel like there's no passion left over for shoes. So I don't really know what I like in terms of shoes. I do find it difficult finding a shoe because I am so tall. So, I'm 5'10", maybe even 5'11" if I stand up straight. And I love to see a tall woman, a tall, confident woman walk into a room, and I just think that looks wonderful. But when I'm the tall woman, sometimes it makes me feel slightly uncomfortable, and I know I need to own it and just be fabulous and tall. I'm thinking like Dolly Alderton, like she owns that, like tall woman in massive skyscraper heels. But I've been places where I've had a big heel on and then I've maybe taken them off, and people around me are just sort of like, like I don't know what it is. So I find a big heel difficult, which means I'm always going for like a tiny heel. You're not always getting like the most chic of choices in a little heel, are you? I have got a few. I've created a right pile on here. So one of my best mates also has these shoes, and she takes the mickey out of me because for me, these are like my glam going out shoes. And she's like, they're a tiny block heel from Marks and Spencer's. And I'm like, I know, but what am I going to do? And I do have like a faux pas with these shoes because I was going to an event, Soho House. I was so excited. I was stressing about the shoes, but I was like, it's going to have to be my Marks and Spencer's mum shoes. And then I forgot the little band that... So I was trying to wear these shoes without because this comes off. Trying to wear these shoes.
Oh my goodness, it's just a slingback that's not a slingback.
Yeah, do you understand what I mean? So this... See, I can't even talk about shoes properly, Emma. This comes out.
Oh.
So I'd taken the shoes.
But not the bit.
And then I just had... Yeah, I couldn't... But do you want to know what I did?
I'd have put a ribbon around it. I'd have had two, otherwise I'd have just been out of there.
Yeah. Oh no, you can't walk. You can't. I mean, come on, they're tiny heel. I can walk in them, but they don't stay on your feet without the strap. So I had a Liberty carrier bag with the purple braided handles. Yeah. So I took the handles off and then fashioned myself a little strap, but it didn't look good.
Oh no, I'm here for it. I think it's great. I love that idea. I've seen it before where I had a really beautiful pair of shoes that were a court shoe, but that would just never ever stay on my feet, and then it came up as a TikTok or an Instagram kind of hack thing, and so you've got ribbon, and they kind of ribboned round their feet underneath the heel and round their ankle, and I was like, that is what I'm doing because now I can wear these shoes without them constantly like slipping off my foot.
Yeah, I think a little I'm embarrassed to even show these shoes, but a little ribbon in there would have been nice, but I just had to have a carrier bag handle.
I'm here for the inventiveness. I think you're inventive.
Yeah.
Idea, other people.
I didn't have a choice. But yeah, so I do find shoes really hard, and if maybe your followers could help me, like I need like a glam shoe that's gonna, like a going out shoe that's gonna make me feel dressed up, but I don't want to be too tall, just for myself. I like to sort of be me plus a 2-inch heel. That's about as far as I'd go. But everything that I see, like Queens of Archive will always style their gorgeous dresses with like a really great platform, and it's the look I want, but I'd be 6'4", 6'5" in that, and I just feel like, I would be a bit uncomfortable.
That'd be my dream. I'd love to be over like 6 foot. I'd just love it. I'd absolutely love it.
I do love being tall. yeah, don't get me wrong, I do love being tall, but like honestly, that is very tall. Like your perspective changes, you're towering over people, and yeah, it's different. I have just started following a few people who it's like a genre on Instagram that I didn't know existed, like a tall girl genre. So I've started following a few people, and it has definitely built my confidence up a bit. But I think maybe it's more just what I'm used to. So I'm used to being my height in like flats or a little heel or like a 2 inch. That's what I'm used to. And then when I become any taller, it just feels like the world's a bit off kilter because I am so tall.
Now, is there a fashion item that you've been lusting after, a kind of dream piece that you don't already own and that you'd love to have regardless of cost?
Yes. Well, oh, do you know what? I don't know whether I've set my price budget as high as I could have done. But even though we've talked mostly about, you know, the pieces that I hang on my wall, I do actually like to dress. Oh, I don't know whether you would call it casually, bear with me. But I do love a knit. So like my winter uniform would be like a really lovely soft knit. I love those big sleeves, don't I? So this has got a lovely blues on sleeve and again like beautiful fabrics. And I think what I'd like to have next, maybe I'll put it on my Christmas list, is like a beautiful Cezanne jumper, like maybe a mohair one, just something that I know I'll get a lot of wear out of. But it's that for me, that's kind of like a bit more of an elevated price point because you're probably looking about £100 for one of their knits. And I think that would make a nice, well, I'd be lucky if I got it for Christmas, wouldn't I? But a nice Christmas present. So like a more elevated version of this. Although these are great Cezanne dupes and they're from La Redoute and I think they're about £30, but they are a lovely composition. They've got, so what are we, I'm always looking at labels for the fabric composition, but I think this one has it got some mohair in it? Oh, I can't actually find the information on here, but oh, here we are. Yeah, so it's 50% alpaca, 15% wool, and then we have got some synthetics in there as well, but it just gives it like a more expensive feel and it's warm as well, because if you're wearing a cotton jumper or a polyester jumper, you're not like getting that lovely, I mean a polyester jumper is going to be hard, but maybe an acrylic jumper, you're not going to get like the same properties as you will from a natural fibre. So these ones, they've still got them on La Redoute, so I recommend. And then this one from Ganni, which was a bit more expensive, but I don't normally do logos, but I like this one. I love Ganni as a brand.
Yeah, same. They just have such gorgeous pieces. And I think you're right. I think it is about looking at the labels of things, because I was watching something the other day and they were comparing two kind of Crombie style camel coats on the high street. And one was Primark and one was Zara. And the Zara one was £189 and I think the Primark one was £49. But the Primark one had more wool in it. The composition was much better from Primark than it was from Zara, and it was purely a marketing thing. The shape of the Primark one was better, the structure, the silhouette, the whole thing. And it is that thing of sometimes we do just have that perception of a brand that's going to be more premium. But actually, if we looked at the label, you'd go, oh no, actually, this has got the better fabric to it. And yes, there is then that kind of consideration of, well, how have they got a fabric of that quality for that price? You know, what process has gone on here? So it is that balance, but I do think you're right. Looking at the labels of pieces before we buy them is so important.
Yes, it really is, and that's such a good tip, actually, isn't it? Like, look at your labels, and I keep bringing it back to the super practical, don't I? But wool is really good for helping you retain your body temperature. So if you're buying like I'm such a cold person, I'm always freezing, so I will, you know, I'll buy wool or like mohair, alpaca, something like that, because it does look beautiful. It's got like beautiful softness. But also this is going to keep me warm, and when you're a cold person it's important, and especially with your coats as well. I have actually bought one of my coats. If you're going to go for a wool, if you're going to sort of go against the whole puffer trend, which is we're just puffers everywhere, isn't it, then you do want something that's got a bit of wool in it, because that's going to make your coat warm. If it's completely synthetic, it's not going to be as warm as a beautiful wool coat. But yeah, this is a special one. I think that's probably what I'm listing after as well, this, but in navy. So if anyone knows of like a lovely long wool kind of trench in navy, hit me up, because that's what I want.
Have a look at Hobbs. I don't know if Hobbs do a navy one, but they're wool coats. And not just because I am their, you know, representative on QVC, but if you do look at them on their website, I'm sure they've got a navy one, but they are just the way the quality.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Is
Yes, thanks, Emma. Coats are something that I will spend a lot of money on. I don't know, it's all relative, isn't it? But for me, a lot, because I just think a good coat, like I love this coat. This is a French brand, which in my Midland accent, I will butcher. Petit Mondigo?
Oh, come on
Not
now.
sure,
In my Yorkshire accent, it's not going to be any better, so don't worry. You know, we do our best.
We need yeah, we need a gorgeous Parisian chic assistant to, because there's a lot of French brands that I've been talking about.
I think that's it in fashion.
Yeah, you can just dub it.
In fashion, everyone has these lovely kind of names, and then that all sounds great until you then say them in my accent, and I think, well, this is how it comes out. I'm never going to be able to say these things.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I will try and like, I'll be like Cézanne, and I'll try and say it in like a little bit of a French, a little bit, and I just think, oh, what am I doing? But yeah, a coat, I'd say, is great investment, because you know, sometimes you're in your coat all day, like you're wearing your coat every day. So if you can put a bit of money into that, and then I'll wear my coats year after year as well. And I do have a puffer as well, but a sea of puffer coats on the school run, and I'm like, I get it, and I have one, but if I'm not doing the school run, I'm like, I'll put my wool coat on and I'll feel slightly elevated. I'm still really warm, but it just makes me feel like I feel a bit more put together.
I agree, completely the same. So my puff coat is generally reserved for kind of walking the dog, occasionally doing the school run, and so on shoots where I just know that I'm going to be outside and I'm going to be freezing. But then the rest of the time, I'm in a much more kind of wool coat, you know, a bit more fitted, a bit more tailored. It just makes you feel that, you know, a bit more put together.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. And I love a long coat as well for warmth, but I just think I've been seeing people in like oversized long coats and like chunky boots, and that's something that I want to do this year. I'm definitely getting more into, I mean, she says with like a nipped in waist, but I am getting a bit more into like an oversized silhouette. I think for a long time, again, a hangover from you should try and look your slimmest self, I was very much like things had to be fitted, but it does look cooler to wear something a bit bigger. So this is probably a size bigger than I'd normally wear, but it just looks like it looks a bit more elevated when you wear something a bit more baggy.
I love it. Oh, Jess, it has been so much fun talking to you. I could literally just spend the entire day just talking to you. I'm so conscious that I'm taking up so much of your time.
No, I've loved it. I love talking about clothes.
I've loved it. Thank you so much for being on Off the Hanger.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, or give this a rating and a follow.